Second.
For many voters, immigration is the top issue in the 2024 election.
First thing we're going to do is we're going to close that border tight as a drum, and we're going to let people come in, but only legally.
While we fight for comprehensive immigration reform, he calls immigrants rapists and murderers.
Biden and Trump have different ideas for how the country should handle issues like border security, deportations, and asylum seekers.
President Biden's approach has been a bit of a balancing act on immigration.
PBS News Hour correspondent Laura Barrón-López covers the White House and Biden's campaign.
He actually kept in place a lot of the executive actions that President Trump had in place, namely Title 42. Title 42 was a deportation policy instituted during the pandemic by President Trump, and it essentially allowed Customs and Border Protection to immediately expel migrants encountered at the border, even if they were trying to seek asylum. President Biden kept it in place for a long time, essentially until the courts said that he couldn't anymore. President Biden has instituted an executive action that cracks down on asylum seekers between ports of entry, but he also sped up the deportation process for migrants that are considered a national security threat. If there are more than 2,500 migrants encountered between ports of entry at the southern border, then the border shuts down and migrants can no longer declare asylum between ports of entry. On one hand, President Biden has tried to appear really tough on the border. And on the other hand, he has tried to say that he still wants to make the process more humane.
We must face a simple truth. To protect America as a land that welcomes immigrants, we must first secure the border and secure it now.
President Biden has been essentially arguing he's willing to negotiate with Republicans, but if they don't want to negotiate with him, then he's going to take some executive action, and we've seen that he's been doing that. President Trump attempted to use this exact same authority.
PBS NewsHour correspondent Lisa Desjardins has covered Trump since his 2016 campaign.
He began his first run for president with vitriol about migrants, but now he's saying things like he doesn't believe migrants are civilians and that he believes that perhaps the U.S. military should be used against migrants entering this country between border points. That is something unprecedented. Former President Trump is again doubling down on this idea that he would want mass sweeping deportations in this country.
On day one, we will begin the largest deportation effort in the history of our country.
And he wants local law enforcement to do it. And he has also said he wants the National Guard to help. Former President Trump, a big piece of his immigration agenda is the so-called Remain in Mexico policy. He would reinstate that. He would say, if you have come from a country other than Mexico to the U.S. border, you will have to wait in Mexico to be processed before you can enter. Trump 3.0 is a lot like Trump 2016 when it comes to the border wall. He is insisting he will still put a border wall in place along the southwestern border, and that he believes that perhaps the U.S. military should be used against migrants entering this country between border points.
As immigration policy shifts, voters will be watching closely as they choose their next president this year. For PBS News, I'm Casey Kuhn.